Quantifying AA program value, how to translate value to the bottom line is one of the biggest questions executives and line of business or LOB managers have about EA programs.
Building a business case that includes an alternatives analysis, cost-benefit analysis, and return on investment calculation is the primary measure for evaluating the contribution to profitability and or mission success. Many aspects of EA value can be quantified, including the following areas: shortening planning cycles. EA can help shorten planning cycles by providing a robust repository of online information regarding current and future processes and resources. While EA does not replace strategic planning or business process improvement activities, it does enhance them through contribution of useful information that would otherwise be gathered separately. More effective planning meetings. EA information allows for the presentation of a common baseline of planning and reference information. It reduces ambiguity and increases levels of common understanding. Shorter decision-making cycles. The time it takes to gather and crosswalk strategy, business, and technology information is greatly reduced by having a repository of EA information that was developed through the use of a logical framework and archiving method. Decision-making processes can be streamlined to reflect the availability of this new resource of integrated baseline information. Improved reference information. By using an EA documentation framework and implementation methodology, information on processes and resources is gathered in a standardized method using the same tools and applications. Additionally, the method for storing the information is coordinated through the use of the online EA repository, which requires the use of standardized data and document formats. This in turn creates the ability to perform queries for information across otherwise disparate activities and resources. It also supports a more robust data mining and business analysis capability. Reduction of duplicative resources. One of the greatest contributions an EA makes to an enterprise is aiding the visualization of the value that current resources provide, where those value areas overlap and where performance gaps exist. For example, duplicative data represents low-hanging fruit ready for elimination through the implementation of the future architecture. Subsequent improvements might then focus on the introduction of new technologies and improvements in efficiency. Reduced rework. By approaching the planning and execution of new resources in a holistic manner, potential rework that might have been created through individual program-level initiatives, like containing duplicative and/or conflicting capabilities, can be avoided. Also, rework is reduced through the use of a step-by-step EA methodology and framework that call for standard approaches to documentation that are based on mature modeling and analysis techniques. Improved resource integration and performance. EA promotes integration through the planning and utilization of resources on an enterprise-wide basis. EA also helps to compare current and future requirements for business and technology in order to identify performance gaps and solutions. This result is contrasted with stovepipe program-level inputs to provide incremental improvements within individual LOBs. Fewer people in process. EA supports business process reengineering or BPR and business process improvement or BPI activities by encouraging planning in the context of both enterprise-wide cross-cutting requirements and particular LOB requirements. Quantifying this includes the elimination of parts of a process that are repetitive. Also, streamlined processes that use resources more efficiently can equate to position requirement reductions and payroll savings. Improved communication. EA helps to promote a common language and central approach that can reduce misunderstandings of resource requirements and potential solutions. This can reduce rework. Whole processes may require repetition due to misunderstandings of different interpretations of requirements and/or solutions. Reduction in cycle time. EA can help an enterprise to reduce the time it takes to plan, develop, implement, and retire resources within its business and technology operating environment. By using an EA methodology and framework, each resource is evaluated from the same holistic strategy, business, and technology viewpoint, and is documented using the same set of EA tools and techniques. Further, EA complements capital planning and program management reviews of completed projects so that the lessons learned can be applied to subsequent efforts. In this way, the enterprise can improve efficiency and reduce the amount of time it takes to implement similar resources. For example, using an integrated enterprise architecture or capital planning, project management approach to selecting, controlling, and evaluating investments in websites, the enterprise will be more effective and efficient in implementing each subsequent website and can avoid creating duplicative capabilities. The cost of EA should be approached from a program lifecycle view that centers on phases for implementation, maintenance, and refreshment. One way to estimate EA program cost is to look at each area of the EA implementation methodology and identify the direct and indirect costs to accomplish each of these steps. In general, this would include the following: EA program administration and other enterprise administrative tie-ins, salary benefits for a chief architect and EA team staff, meetings, facilities, materials, and support for stakeholder planning sessions, computers, applications, and web developers to establish the EA repository, interviews and materials to document EA current views, future scenario planning sessions with stakeholders, interviews and materials to document EA future views, development and documentation of the EA management plan, purchase, use, and refreshment of EA modeling applications and computers, regular or annual updates to EA documentation and the online repository. The cost of establishing an initial version of the EA will be more than the cost of updating and maintaining it, due to the direct and indirect costs associated with establishing new EA processes and capabilities and gaining stakeholder support. The full life cycle cost of the EA program should be established and presented to the EA program sponsor, so that there is a clear understanding of the one-time cost for implementation of the EA and the ongoing costs for EA maintenance and refreshment activities. As with any program, this budget picture should be baseline relative to the EA program activities that are approved by the sponsor, so that any approved changes to the scope of those EA activities are accompanied by a change to the budget. If this is not done, the EA program may evolve to a position of being responsible for too much relative to the resources it has available. In that, EA is an advanced analytic type of activity. Most of the cost of developing and maintaining EA documentation will be the cost of labor for trained architects. The second largest cost area will be the supporting technology, hardware, software, web applications, databases, EA tools, etc. The other major cost area will be the facility cost for the EA team's work area and meetings with stakeholders. Those who do EA in total or in part for living work under a variety of job titles, including chief architect, solution architect, systems architect, data architect, network architect, security architect, IT consultant, management consultant, and a number of related analyst titles. Furthermore, there tends to be a set of classifications for senior, mid-level, and junior positions for many of these jobs. From an informal survey of EA salaries in 2012, a senior enterprise architect's position can command over $100,000 per year. Mid-level positions, or 3 to 5 years of experience, can earn in the range of $60,000 to $80,000 per year. And the junior positions for beginning architects can earn in the range of $40,000 to $50,000 per year. As expensive as this seems, the cost to outsource these positions is even greater. The industry average for one work year is about 2,060 hours. This is Monday to Friday, 8-hour days, and accounts for time away, for holidays, and personal time off. Some federal government contract labor rates for the outsourcing of a chief architect and or senior consultation or senior consultant position are over $200 per hour, which translates to over $412,000 per year. The rate for mid-level EA professionals can range from $125 to $175 per hour. So at the upper end of this range, the outsourcing of one of these positions can cost over $360,050. The rate for junior EA professionals can range from $55 to $85 per hour. And at the upper end of this range, the cost of outsourcing can be over $175,100. This significant level of cost for EA labor has caused some enterprises to pause in considering the implementation of an EA program. However, when the potential savings generated by the EA program are factored in, there can be a very high return on investment, especially in enterprises where EA can reduce duplicative capabilities and help identify common solutions to otherwise separate requirements. With cost for information systems in the many millions of dollars, the consolidation of even a few of those systems can make the EA program more than pay for itself, as well as enable the enterprise to redirect the funding from duplicative resources to other business requirements. Linking strategy, business, and technology. For EA to support an enterprise holistically, it must link strategy, business, and technology. EA is most effective when it simultaneously supports top-down, executive planning, and decision-making across the enterprise and bottom-up management planning and decision-making within each LOB. In this way, EA helps to ensure that strategy drives business and technology planning. From a business perspective, EA provides the context and purpose of business activities by ensuring technology is implemented only after business requirements are identified.
From a technology perspective, EA provides the strategy and business context for resource planning. This can be critical when working with multiple organizations to create common resources. Example, supply chains, or in merging, acquiring organizations into one enterprise. Planning as is reflected in the design of the EA framework, strategy creates business requirements and technology support solutions for meeting those requirements. EA documents three primary issues at the business level: supporting strategic goals. Touch points between strategic initiatives and business activities need to be clearly documented. Not all business activities are strategic, and it is important to distinguish in the EA documentation between those that directly link to strategic initiatives and those that provide general support functions for the enterprise. Documentation of business activities. Documenting the creation and delivery of business products and services is important in supporting business process improvement or BPI and business process re-engineering or BPR projects, and in documenting business activities to show inputs, outputs, and outcomes and other elements of influence regarding each business process. It's also important to identify how business processes are linked to one another. Identifying supporting technologies. Analyzing business requirements and activities can reveal critical supporting technologies. Example, marketing activities require sales trend analysis data, and a manufacturing process requires various types of resources, including raw materials, facilities, labor, computers, data, and/or robotics. EA helps to identify and document these supporting technologies. Technology is a type of resource that enables information and other resource flows to support the creation and delivery of business products and services, which in turn enables achievement of strategic goals. It is important that technology not drive business and strategy planning, especially in resource-constrained enterprises, where the expense where the expense of duplicative, non-strategic technologies cannot be afforded. Bottom-up planning, example where technology is the catalyst for change, is a viable use of EA. However, it's not the normal process for resource implementation. It's more important for the enterprise to understand its primary directions and priorities, plan necessary business activities, and then identify the supporting resources, including IT. Thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel.